Good Friday afternoon or evening, wherever you might be. Victor, you're in a new
Hey,
undisclosed location.
I'm surrounded by alligators.
Uh,
That's a tip.
have you gone to see the alligators yet?
Not yet. I have some work today, but I hope tomorrow that I'll go to what's the name? Airboat, right? The one that
Yep,
with the fan behind. Yeah, that
yep.
one. That's my plan. We'll see.
Very, very good. And again, good to see you. Stefan, we haven't seen you in a
Hey,
while.
I saw him. I saw him 2 days ago, 3 days ago.
At the, which we'll talk to,
Engin.
at the conference. Oh, you saw Ingen
Yeah, yeah,
2 days ago. Oh,
yeah, yeah.
okay. All right, we'll talk more about the conference in a minute. By the way, my name is Darren. This over here is Victor, and we're the co-host of a podcast called DevOps Paradox. And on Fridays, we do this live show as long as we are somewhere near an internet connection, which sometimes has been an
That's the
airport.
plan.
Today is a hotel. So I'm still in my little corner of the world. I was
To
telling
be
Victor
honest,
before we got
it's so
started.
nice. It's so
Go
nice
ahead.
outside that I would like to do it from outside, but I don't have US data plan, so
Ah, I was telling Victor, my neighborhood is going to be getting fiber soon. Fiber. We'll see if it actually shows up or not.
all our guests and listeners and people who follow us are going to appreciate it.
I'll appreciate it because it's actually going to change some things of how I do some other things. So it'll be nice. Now the
You
question
will
is, will it
stop
be
being a
more
magician,
reliable
right?
and just be able to snap? I
No
could
more
be, I could be
magic
a,
tricks.
I could
Here
learn
he
more
is.
magic tricks.
Here he disappeared, and then he appears again.
Yep. Well, let's talk about the conference that you were at this week. Let's go ahead and talk about that, and then we will actually revisit a little bit of it later. So you were at the CIVO conference and in Tampa, right? You're in Florida right
In
now, so
Tampa.
you're in Tampa.
Yes.
How was it?
It was fantastic. Uh, Not amazingly huge number of people. I think it was probably 200, maybe 300 people. But the speakers that came, absolutely amazing. Amazing lineup. Starting with the keynote from one and only Steve Wozniak was. So it was, and the venue is amazing. The food, oh my God, this is the first time I eat at the conference.
So we've always talked about the food being horrible. So this was the exact opposite of that.
Yeah, because it's in a venue that has a restaurants, and they just gave us vouchers for restaurants instead of serving us
Oh,
with the conference food type of stuff. So, hey, amazing.
cool.
And I'm in short sleeves.
In your choice, which makes you happy.
Very happy, very happy.
Thomas, thanks for hanging out with us live today. We appreciate it. Luis, good to see you. The talk that Victor, the talk of Victor is already legendary with the mimosa. What? Okay, you've got to give me context here.
Yeah, so they had three places where talks were in three different buildings. Mine
Hmm.
was in what they called rooftop, at the rooftop. And they were serving mimosas over there. So I had like 6, 7 mimosas before my talk, and I could not allow myself not to continue during the talk.
6 or 7
Yes,
before.
yes. I
Okay.
mean, you cannot give people free mimosas and expect them not to drink them.
Well, you can, but okay.
I mean, not with me.
Not with you. Yeah, exactly. Oh man. So the venue was great. Um, the food was good. Small crowd,
Yep,
and you
small
got to hang out
crowd,
with
but
Steve
good crowd.
Wozniak.
I did not know
Oh,
that you. I mean, I get to hang out with him in terms that I was listening to the keynote. But sponsors had breakfast with Steve.
oh,
If I knew, I would convince my company to sponsor it. If no other reason to
hang out
chat
with
with him,
Steve.
right?
That's cool. Oh wait, this is pretty good. Good thing he'd already filmed all his demos for the session. I can imagine.
Yep.
Oh, Aldi, good to see you. Lots of names that I haven't seen before. Thanks for joining us live today. This show might be a little bit short, number one, because I'm holding up Victor from getting back outside in his short sleeves in February, which I know you just, you don't get in Spain.
I completely understand why people come here when they retire.
And you're not even in the most warm place of the state.
No.
No.
Now I've been in California, not in Tampa, but somewhere else. I don't remember where, in summer. And I love heat, but it's a bit too much. My threshold for heat is higher than many people's threshold, but it's a bit too much in summer, I must say that.
Yeah. You weren't in Texas in the summer. If you want to know hot, go to Texas in August.
Yeah? Is it
I'll
worse
just say
than
that.
Florida?
Oh my goodness, yes. With Florida, you get prevailing winds even across the state from the ocean. I mean, not all the way in, but with you being in Tampa right now, you're getting something. Have you gone to see the sunset yet?
No, not yet.
Not yet. You need to do that too. Yes, you should.
Oh, okay.
You should go out on the west side of town. Go eat at a restaurant that's on the edge of the Gulf and watch the sunset. You should do that.
Okay.
Okay. But we're talking about the now, but this week's episode was about 20 years ago, sort of. So this was a discussion about a Reddit post about somebody that was trying to figure out how to make weekend releases easier. And the company wasn't able to make changes. And also, another part of it was a company that was just moving to Java 8. Now, just moving to Java 8. And so we were very philosophical about the sadness.
Exactly.
Anyway, everything, and this is the reason why I remember doing all these things 20 years ago. But, not on the regular anymore. The Reddit post was about they do a release every other weekend.
Every other weekend. They're still stuck with Java 8.
Well, that's a different company. It's Java 8.
Oh, okay.
So it was a different company, and they were just going to Java 8. And remember that Java 11 and 17 are the LTSs now. 8's no longer officially supported. So anyway, if you haven't listened to this week, in all your spare time this weekend, go ahead and give it a listen. It's a little bit different than most of our episodes. And we're also quickly coming up on episode 200. Honestly, I wasn't sure if we'd ever get beyond, what number do you think, Victor? 10?
50?
50?
I gave us a year.
Yeah. And here we are getting almost starting our 5th year. That'll be in May. So, amazing. Amazing. Okay. A lot of the news this week was sent in by you, not you, Victor, but our viewers and listeners over in the Slack workspace. So if you ever have any ideas or, you want to just get some news on, you can Slack me, DM me over in the DevOps 20 Slack workspace. And a lot of these today are from that. This is one of them. And I apologize, I don't remember who sent this over. So forgive me. But I was talking about Fly and how they're not really using a scheduler in the Orchestrator anymore, which I thought was interesting. Did you know they're on Nomad?
I found out that yesterday, actually.
Yeah. So this is interesting to me. Number one, by the way, I think everybody should read this. It's a really interesting story about why they do what they do, but it's a 20-minute read, and it's a legitimate 20-minute read. It's a super long post. But they finally got to the point, and they're telling a story. I mean, this is probably one of the best stories I've read in a long time. But they were talking about bin packing, and basically bin packing is try to get as much stuff in as few things as possible. Right? That's when you're traveling, Victor. How many bags do you want to take? Your backpack, right?
One.
Right. You don't want to do anything else.
Carry on.
Right. You want to do a carry-on, and that's it. You don't want to have a carry-on and 3 other rolling cases. You just don't.
Absolutely not.
Partial. So you try to pack as much into that carry-on as you can. And you're finding different angles and different ways to put stuff in. That's bin packing, right?
Exactly.
But then they have found out that bin packing doesn't work for them. It's a wrong for their platform, which sort of makes sense. We just want to get it running now. Forget about the math. This is my words, not theirs.
Yeah.
Okay. Just pay a little bit more money, have the capacity, go and be done with it. So, again, my words, not theirs. So I thought this was a really great article. They're calling it Fly. They call it Fly D, which sort of makes sense, because if it doesn't end in D, is it real?
No, absolutely not.
So anyway, that's about Fly. Very, very long post. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just they give enough support to the subject to where you feel like you understand what's going on. So that's a good one. So anyway, that is called Carving the Scheduler Out of Our Orchestrator. And these next couple, I think, were from Ari. And Ari, and if I didn't get it right, I'm sorry. Azure Kubernetes, AKS, free and standard tiers. Now you get AKS for free. Is this another ChatGPT thing gone completely wrong, and it's just confidently wrong?
I mean, it's a standard practice for cloud or SaaS vendors to give free tier, right? I'm actually surprised that there wasn't a free tier before.
So let's see. Of course, when I zoom in, I break everything. Free tier. You want to experiment at no extra cost. Okay. Clusters with fewer than 10 nodes. Free. Free cluster
Very
management. No uptime SLA. That's okay. It's free. So they shouldn't be guaranteeing anything.
Exactly. I mean, you cannot scream at them if it goes down something that is free.
Okay. Diversion. You saw that the Twitter API is no longer going to be free starting next week.
I heard it. Yeah, I heard that all the third parties working with Twitter are basically gone, finished.
Right. Unless they want to pay. Right?
I don't remember the prices, but I was speaking with guys and everybody told me that kind of the prices are ridiculous. Completely
It was
ridiculous or something.
$100 a month. $100 a month. I don't think that's ridiculous.
I mean,
If you're
for
running a
accessing
business...
an API? Yeah,
Okay,
if you're running a business, yes, but that's not the only cost of running that business relying on Twitter, right?
Correct.
So think of it this way. That's $100 on top of whatever you were paying for the service of that kind, third party before. And then it becomes a thing.
My point here is it goes back to that last point about AKS. No uptime SLA. I don't have a problem with Twitter charging for API access. I don't. AWS charges for API access, but not direct access. It's only after you've done something with the API that costs money. Twitter doesn't have that. So therefore, that money has to move out towards the edge.
Yes.
It's a different conversation, right? But I don't have a problem with it. Do I like it? No, right? I'll get that other. Do I like it? No. But do I understand it? Absolutely.
Fair enough. I mean, it's a public service, right? Kind of like
Whoa, it's not.
YouTube.
It's not. It's not. Okay, wait a minute. Define public service in this case. Sorry.
I mean,
It's publicly available.
public service. Yeah, but I mean public service as
right.
in YouTube being a public service, not public as if owned by public, right?
Got it. Yep.
And I assume that platforms and services like that, like Twitter, actually are supposed to build ecosystem, right, and enable different. I see it more like a platform that enables certain things through the ecosystem to third parties and so on and so forth, right? And now Twitter is going down the route of being basically destroying the ecosystem, which is completely valid. It kind of it's just a different route, right, than it was going through before.
Okay. So let's come back to AKS for a second. AKS's unique free tier allows you to only pay for the virtual machines which run your workloads. The free tier allows you to pay only. Okay.
Wait,
It's not free.
I understand the sentence. Is it allowing you to... So is the control plane free then?
Effectively, yes. The way I'm reading it, that's the
Okay.
way it is. Which is still okay. Right? It's
I
free
think
tier
it
is
is.
recommended for clusters less. So basically, if your worker nodes, you got to pay for.
Oh, that's brilliant. I love that. I actually... Everybody had that in the past and they removed it. And I never liked it. I understand why we should be paying for control planes. But it also fosters bad practices like, hey, let's have one massive cluster instead of multiple clusters. So I'm always in favor of pricing models that at the same time enable you to do the right thing. If that makes sense.
Yep. This allows you to deploy unlimited free test clusters to decide if AKS is right for whatever. Recommended for clusters with less than 10 nodes. That's a big cluster at 10 nodes. Do you think that or no? Is
I'm
that
guessing that 10
medium?
nodes, but probably they will limit the size of those nodes.
Yeah.
Probably cannot be like 10 biggest nodes offered by Azure.
So anyway, Zingan says the free AKS tier is great. Great for demos.
I mean, I see Microsoft going towards the route being the biggest player on all levels. Kind of ChatGPT, AI, this. I mean, cloud itself, hyperscaler, Azure itself is the only competitor for AWS. And then when you add the rest of the things that they do, like GitHub and AI and stuff like that, it's big, man. Big, big, big.
So that's that. Oh, Karen, good to see you. So that's AKS free tier. And this was another article that came in this week. How Grafana Lab uses and contributes to OpenCost. Now, OpenCost came out of... We had a gentleman on. What was his name? Because we were talking about OpenCost before it was actually open sourced. Who was that from?
Don't ask me for names. I'm terrible. I have to remember his people's
Webb
names.
Brown. That's who. We talked to him. Webb Brown. It was Webb.
Okay.
That's who we had him. From KubeCost. So now Grafana's using OpenCost to figure things out. FinOps is the answer to everything, right? It's 42, right? OpenCost is 42. Because, okay, so if you're not trying to manage your cost today, especially with all the layoffs in the past few weeks, you will be very soon. Because once they eliminate as many people as can be eliminated, they're going to start eliminating other things.
You know, to big part of cost optimization of FinOps is really more about, from my perspective, fostering good practices than really about the cost, right? I'm not that keen whether it's going to be spot instances or not spot instances. That's not the interesting part to me. But killing things that you don't use, going for better routes, closer routes and things like that. That's what's interesting with cost optimization, right? But at the end of the day, it's really more about different way to get to some good practices.
So again, another good article this week from you, the listeners and viewers. Thanks. Chainguard released a new image for Kubectl, or kubectl, or how do you want to say it else? I don't know.
I say Kubectl and then people scream at me.
Yeah. So anyway, it is only, what was the size? 50 meg versus 200 meg, with 0 CVEs versus 60. I think Chainguard's 12 months from now, let's make a prediction. 12 months from now, Chainguard will have a vast majority of tooling images that will surpass anything else.
The other day, now in the conference, Brett Fisher had a talk, and I really liked his perspective, how Docker in its days, still up to an extent, right, was optimizing for ease of usage, right, being user-friendly. And as a result of that, among other things, we got images that are massive, right? If you don't specify tiny or something like that release of an image in Docker Hub, the official one, you're getting a monster, right? Which makes perfect sense if your primary objective is simplicity, right? Because you get everything you need in a container image. That was somehow fixed later with additional tags, Alpine version and this and that. But Chainguard now has a tendency to become the de facto standard essentially for base images, if nothing else, or third-party images.
Yep, it comes with its SBOM. It's signed. Why would you not use an image if it's available from them? I can't think of a reason.
Yep.
Anyway, that was
I would read much. There are tools that convert your images with less CVEs, and to me that's great, but really not the right direction. I think that the right direction is what they're doing. Kind of, I want my base image to be the right size. And then probably whatever I add on top of it is not going to be a big deal. Rather than, hey, let's take a random, huge, massive image and then make it smaller.
Which never goes well, I don't think.
Yeah, it's similar thing like, hey, operating system, right? Do you want to start with container optimized operating system, which is to me equivalent to Chainguard images, or you want to start with CentOS and then start removing things from it that you don't need? I choose the former.
Yeah, don't get me started on CentOS right now, even though I'm still a big fan. So anyway, that's Kubectl from Chainguard this week. An article, we don't talk about Corey Quinn a ton. This article from him, when the AWS community isn't for Amazonians. And this isn't just about AWS, even though it's for AWS. It's the subtext here that is more important, because both you and I, in our day jobs, fall into this. If you work for a company with a tool that fosters community around it, you are not part of that community.
Okay. Do you have a longer version of that thought?
So, yes. So he goes into his story around Chef. Chef employees weren't part of the Chef community. CNCF employees aren't part of the CNCF community. These are very broad statements for the moment. But then it gets into the point of going into Chef. Here's what I mean. Back when I was deep into the CM weeds, I managed to never use Chef. However, I went to Chef conferences. Right? Then, one day, Chef began hiring its passionate and well-regarded community members, and things were getting better. However, the community seemed to be Chef employees talking to each other, where it ended in the Chef domain.
Yeah, when the whole
Which was
community
bad.
becomes employed by a company, then he's absolutely right, right?
Right.
I do believe that the other extreme is not healthy either, because you need full-time people in a community. If we're talking about bigger community, you need somebody who is not just occasionally coming there and doing random things, but somebody who gathers people together, who goes through, I don't know, the open issues, pull requests, thinks about and suggests a roadmap, not necessarily defines, and so on and so forth. So he's right. If the whole community becomes employees of a specific company, absolutely right. But then the other extreme is not good either.
I just thought it was an interesting article based on how you and I live our day jobs. So it made me think and pause a little bit. It's like, okay, where am I crossing that line, or not crossing the line when I need to? So, good article. Okay, some tools this week. Let's go back to your conference this week. So I saw this civo-opencontrolplane. I don't get it.
I'm not sure I 100% understand it either, but my understanding of it is based really of like 10 minutes conversation with civil folks. I need to try it out to give any opinion on it. Too soon for me.
The way it seemed to me was they're trying to make it a spec. So the open control plane spec. Right, so this is their implementation.
Yes.
This sort of feels like what is the Kubectl is an implementation of OAM.
Open application model, yes.
Right. Right, so this feels similar to that, at least in that respect. Is that?
Yes.
Does that seem right?
The problems, and really I'm speaking now without being well informed, there are a couple of problems there. First, if you make a spec of something that is so widely different, like AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, how do you make that spec, right? Do you put everybody's things into that spec and then you create a monster that is even more complicated? Do you go for lowest possible denominator and then exclude all the specific good things of those providers? It's complicated. Terraform tried it, HashiCorp tried it, long time ago, failed. Many others tried it. It's very hard to create a spec that actually tries to accommodate all the vendors there are, right? Very, very hard. I'm not saying impossible, but challenging. Let's put it that way.
And I saw one of the examples was something like, you just say network, and then it's going to be smart enough to figure out based on where it's running what to do. And that's what you were just saying. It's like, we've tried it, but it's never totally great.
Exactly, and it depends what you mean by network. Yeah. I mean, I can easily create a spec for. I can create a spec for network, but then kind of like, where are all the Google specific policies and things for that network that make Google network special, right? What do we do with those?
Then it just doesn't. Yeah, I don't know. We'll watch it.
What would be amazing if somebody would take this seriously, but that would need to, if somebody would make some kind of a project that would get a buyout from everybody and create something on a scale of, and then multiply it by 100 of OpenTelemetry, maybe, yes. But that would have to be a round table with all those big and small guys, right? And even then it would hardly work, because simply there are too many differences. Take access control, AIM in AWS and whatever is equivalent in Google and Azure. There is no way you're going to define that as a spec. No way.
Okay. Yeah. Pozdrav. Did I get that close to right?
Yeah, close to right. Yeah, that's hello in Serbian.
Serbian. Oh, okay. And Vladislav, good to see you. It's been a while.
Hey.
Spegel? Spiegel?
Okay, sounds German. I know.
Swedish.
Okay.
Swedish. So this is a stateless cluster local OCI registry mirror. The picture is worth 1,000 words. So then a node gets an image, and if any other nodes need it, it'll get it from that image. It mirrors it out within the cluster.
Isn't that image a state?
Could be.
I mean, it kind of like stateless confuses me. Kind of like there is state, image is state.
It is state. Yeah.
Now, distributed state sounds better in this context.
Fair enough. But anyway, this is a newish project. Just 002 is its current version. Relies on containerd registry mirroring, which I didn't even know that containerd had registry mirroring in it. So I think this is a good thing. It's been verified with AKS and EKS because it needs some sort of configuration for it to work. Create a namespace, install it, and that's what it looks like. I guess it matters.
I'm really curious about this one.
Like for most of the apps I deal with, we're not doing that level of replicas, failover, so I probably wouldn't get a ton of value out of this. I guess for microservices, it would probably make more sense. Meaning, or high replica things, maybe? I don't know.
I mean, yeah, avoiding having state concentrated in one server wherever your mirrored registry is running, maybe. Is it a big deal to have it concentrated in maybe not one, but two servers instead of...
No.
Sorry, everywhere instead of, or nowhere instead of stateful limited number of servers? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it's better than if for whatever reason your registry was down. If you already had the images in, then that's better, right? Then you're not married to
registries today, like Harbor, right? They do replication, so you can have a HA registry. That's not a big deal. Right? So your problem can be easily avoided, right? Now the question is more like, hey, do you want to have all those replicas concentrated in two servers or two drives or three, or kind of everywhere in a way? This is BitTorrent for images, right?
Well, yeah, it's sort of like Ingan said here. It sounds like the Kraken project from Uber without the peer-to-peer part. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, interesting. I'm going to call it Spegel because that sounds Swedish to me, and it's probably not, but it is today. Something a little more fun, Kubestroyer. Exploit Kubernetes cluster misconfigurations and start pen testing with it. So you point it at a cluster, let it run, and it will tell you what it finds. Not only will it start doing things, or not only tell you what it finds, it will start causing problems.
A variation of chaos engineering, right?
It is. Very simplistic, reasonably new. First release was in January. So Kubestroyer, nice and small. And something a little less Kubernetes facing. Onedump. I could go so many different directions with that. But no, this is for database backup tools. So Normally, if you're going to do a backup for Postgres, for MySQL, Maria, whatever, you have to use their tools to do it. Well, now there's this tool that does it for you, no matter which one. So if you've got multiples, now you can run just a single tool to manage all of your backups. And gee, go figure, it's YAML. Oh, he walked away from us. Well, that's a wonderful thing. It must be housekeeping. Is it housekeeping?
Yeah, sorry. My phone
Okay.
died, so I had to go and
Plug
put
it
to
in.
charge and connect to those horrible mics. Sorry for that.
Earbuds. Okay, that's fine. We're almost done anyway, so we won't put people through the pain of that. So anyway, it's called Onedump. So right now it's just MySQL and Postgres, and then you can go out to this. I actually did like this a lot. Local, which makes sense. S3, Google Drive, and Dropbox. So that's called Onedump. Onedump. You're going back through your old school stuff. What is Ingress? You're making us feel young again.
I had some comments, complaints, which are, I think, perfectly valid. That I often speak about the tool, and I assume that people know how the area or the objective of that tool are fulfilled, right? So I would, let's say, review an Ingress controller without really explaining what is Ingress. I kind of make those assumptions very often. So I thought to work a bit on explaining those assumptions. So probably in the future, when I talk about specific tool, if I haven't explicitly explained that area, I will do a separate video on kind of explaining concepts before the tool itself.
Okay. So that was your Monday video, but then Wednesday was something new.
Yeah.
And you had Whitney on along with a lot of other people. Building a container image. Talking about getting back to the basics. If we weren't building a container image, we wouldn't need an ingress. Right?
I mean, we wouldn't need Kubernetes Ingress.
Right.
Yeah.
So just in case people aren't aware of what's going on with this, you choose. Why don't you fill us in a little bit more on that?
Yeah. So the idea is to go through all CNCF projects. So I'm talking about 200 plus projects, and connect them in a way that they are organized around certain areas. Like, hey, those are the projects for building container images. Next week will be the projects for storing container images somewhere, right? And there will be networking and packaging and deployment and observability, security, all those stuff, right? So grouping projects into groups and then creating code and commands that will enable people to choose any project and get instructions how to proceed with that to the next stage. So we call it choose your own adventure type of stuff, like those books which probably you, Darin, know, but many people other don't, because that was when I was young, where you read 5 pages and then, hey, do you want to slay the dragon or you want to run away type of stuff, right? So that's the idea. And it's much more complicated than I thought.
Of course it is.
Because making 200 plus projects work in any combination, any choice is valid choice, is a bit challenging.
I still can't believe you're doing it, but have fun with that.
Hey. Yeah, we'll do that. I mean, by the current speed and estimation, and assuming that no new projects come to CNCF, a couple of years and we're done.
Yeah. And of course, there won't be any more CNCF projects at all. It's not possible. So
we started working on it a couple of months ago. I think we did so far, even though it's not public yet. But, all the material and stuff for the recordings, we did 20-something projects, and I think that 30-something entered CNCF since then. So not going well at all.
Yeah. If you were getting paid for this, you would not be getting out of a job for quite a while.
Never, ever.
Okay. So people don't have to deal with your horrible audio, even though it's not horrible, but it's bad.
It's bad.
It's bad. We'll let everybody go. So next week, this is a little bit weird. I haven't looked at the calendar for next week. So video on Monday on DevOps Toolkit. Podcast on Wednesday. Is there an AMA on Thursday?
No AMA, no.
No AMA next.
No,
And
no.
are we back? Are we back next Friday?
I need to double check. I don't think so. I think I'm traveling
Next Friday.
Thursday
Thursday,
night
Friday.
or Friday or something. I don't think so.
Okay.
Most likely not.
Right. So more than likely we will not be here next Friday. That's fine. Life goes on. And we'll be back probably in 2 weeks. But
Yep.
Just in case, because you will have been gone now for almost 2 weeks, right? Yeah, that would be.
I've been. Yeah,
I mean,
the break,
by the time
I
you
was
get
in
back.
Berlin. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, even longer because when I get back, I'll be home for 2 days, I think, and then I'm traveling again to Amsterdam.
It must be good. I don't know.
It's not
I'll
going
just
to
sit
be
here in my corner.
nice weather.
Well, no, Amsterdam won't be nice weather, right? That'll be cold.
It will be horrible, yes.
Okay. You could just stay in Florida
Or Mexico.
or Mexico.
I could do if I wouldn't have family back home. I could just stay and do the what the nomad or whatever
Yes.
the
Digital nomad.
expression is.
Yes.
Digital nomad, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks everybody for being here with us today. Again, we'll probably be back in 2 weeks. We may be here next Friday, but it doesn't sound like it. And we'll just go from there. So everybody have a great weekend, and we will talk to you again soon. Maybe soon.
Yeah.
Soon.
Maybe so.
Maybe soon.
I'll check my calendar. Maybe Friday happens. I don't know yet.
Yeah. Don't know yet. Thanks everybody. Have a great weekend.